Welcome to the Rocky Road Podcast, brought to you by Rockbusters, with your host, Dennis Wager. Dennis is a best-selling author and an expert in demolition, rock, and concrete breaking, as well as a professional blaster. He is also president of Rockbusters Incorporated, along with his son, Brian. On the podcast, you'll hear exciting stories of how these challenge types of rock and concrete jobs are done. You learn about the uses of expanding grout and explosive devices. But furthermore, you'll hear about some of the hurdles and struggles entrepreneurs and business owners have had along the way, how they got started, and how they broke through the obstacles and found the path to success. Along with that, some insight for young people and people wanting to get into the industry. So listen in. I hope you enjoy the show. Now, here is Dennis Wager.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining in, checking out our training video. Today we're going to introduce to you our trainer, John Norman. He's in California, and the training that John provides is the full spectrum from blasting to expanding grout and also splitters, hydraulic and pneumatic splitters. And I just wanted to take a minute to welcome John to the show here. Welcome to the show, John.
Thank you, Dennis. Good to have.
Yeah, thanks. Good to see you. I just wanted to maybe run everybody by what they could expect through the training. Maybe you could give us a little bit of background and the training courses that you've run in the past and so on. Maybe a little bit about your mine rescue and a bit of background on what you do.
Oh, sure. So I've done a lot of different training. I've been on search and rescue for a number of years. I actually started a public safety blasting program where we really had to figure out how to get people that do cave rescue and mine rescue into tight spaces and able to move and break rock. And we subsequently moved that into construction, trades, dirt work, earthworks, mining, anywhere people have to break rock using maybe some unconventional techniques. And, we have had everything from rescue teams to mining companies to blasters and contractors who take these trainings.
Yeah, that's right. And I know we've worked together for a number of years. You've been a dealer for us in the California area and also a subcontractor for us. You also go out and do some of the work, the blasting work for us, as well as training, and have, crews of your own, etc. So maybe just tell us a little bit about that, but what it looks like for you to respond to a job and how you like it.
Oh, sure. So, basically what we're typically doing when we have someone that already has a project, they anticipate being easy. They're digging a septic tank, a foundation, a trench, whatever, and they hit rock. Your typical contractor is going to maybe try a jackhammer, maybe get an excavator mounted hydraulic jackhammer and knock it out. But when that fails, and it usually does if it's not already weathered or blasted rock, that's when you have to look at drilling and getting splitters, expanding grout, or explosives in to break up that rock safely.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Just like we did in Oceanside there with that big trench. But a good place for people to start is simply just take the training, maybe not even go down the road of explosives to begin with and take the explosives later on. But first of all, learn about our little rock demon splitters and our expanding grout. We also offer packages where people can buy in and become a subcontractor under our umbrella, and then get up on our projects page. And we also, work together as far as providing jobs and tools and supply all the products, equipment and grout and so on. And what John's really good at is at his location in Barstow in California, we have a training. They're usually twice a year. We provide training. It's a 2-day program. Some of it's online. Most of it is in person, which is very important, I believe, for this kind of work, because most people learn hands-on. And why don't you just run us through what a typical first day would be like at the training center, what people would expect?
Yeah, so typical training, for say a contractor, someone that maybe has a background, doing some other type of work that's adjacent to this, they're going to want to first of all get familiarized with the equipment, and the big thing is drilling. So whether you're going to be blasting, whether you're going to be using a rock splitter like the Rock Demon or a hydraulic or the expanding grout products, you basically need to get really good at reading, understanding what rock looks like, where you can drill it, where the weak points are, and understand the drill principles that rock is very, very strong in compression and very weak in tension. And we basically start by demonstrating that, showing you, how you can actually use, man-portable tools to break rock. We go through all of the setup and safety with compressed air, with silica dust, things of that nature, PPE, what you need to do. And we do really believe that the skills, we use with mechanical rock breaking are transferable later if you want to get on with the blasting crew or later set your own blasting operation up. And then the people who are already skilled at using high explosives, they aren't always skilled in bringing, their large blasting expertise down to, small level and tight areas. And that's where I think it can really be complementary to look at products like the low explosive Roy-X or the expanding grout. Maybe you can use your high X until you get a little too close to the infrastructure, and then you're scaling it down and using these more sensitive techniques.
Right. And then what we do here at Rockbusters is we bring in people to work together with us. So we want to train people, work together, provide mentorship, and supply everything, and work as a community. We believe in helping people, and also with the training that John provides, you get certification. So you get a hard hat sticker, you get certificate that you can frame, put on your wall. And we only put forward to crews that work with us and guys that are certified, so that we can ensure that our customers get a quality people and get what they expect as far as production and performance from our guys.
So at the end of 2 days, what I like to see is that everybody has been at least exposed to all of the different methods, from high explosives down to small feathers and wedges for making little adjustments to the rock, and everything in between, so that you have an idea of what you need, how to size the job, what kind of equipment, what its work envelope is, how long you think something will take. Of course, you have the whole network of folks to help you with estimating and sizing and all that. But I think the most important thing is that even if you're not going to use all of these different tools, that you're aware of them and you've seen them in use.
Exactly. And there's such a variety now, like you just said, from the small feathered wedges up to explosives. And there's such a range. And there seems to be like a very big difference between boulders and bedrock. Boulders are pretty easy to pop and to, break down into different sizes, so that you can either load them by hand into a small trailer or split them down into 2 to 3 foot sizes, so an excavator can load them into a dump truck. And there's really a need for this kind of work. We get calls basically on a daily basis, and, it works great. We have people send us pictures. Based on what we see in the pictures, we're able to produce like a quick estimate for them and say, here, this is about what we see, how long it'll take, and how much it'll cost. And then we could dispatch a crew, either our own people locally, or we could dispatch a subcontractor crew to go and take care of these jobs. There's like I said, there's lots of jobs, lots of work out there. But it starts with getting trained. So if you're interested, give us a call or register. We have training dates in the fall and training dates in the spring. We'll post it on the website and the pricing, etc. So if you have any questions, just reach out, and we're happy to connect and help you join up with our team.
Fantastic. I think the key here is having a network. A lot of the tools that you're going to need for breaking rock, once it gets, above a couple cubic yards in size, are really not widely available at your average contractor or rental yard. You can get an air compressor, you can get a jackhammer, a 60 or 90 pounder. That'll work on weathered rock. But as soon as you get to drilling, it's typically really a wild card, a crapshoot, whether you're going to get a yard that has a good rock drill with the right sets of steel and matching sharp drill bits and all that. And then same thing with the expanding grout. That's typically a special order anywhere. So having all of this on hand will allow you to tackle problems really fast and at least get them started. Even if you have to rent or order more supplies later, you'll be able to sustain that job without any interruptions if you have this training and some basic equipment on hand.
Exactly. And then everybody starts off wherever they are. Just if you start off small, you get going, you make some money, you can reinvest and grow your company however you see. Or if you just are interested in doing the work, if there's other people you can partner up with and work together.
And drill and blast has been kind of a weird industry. Typically the people who handled hard, difficult to remove bedrock have been drill blast companies. There's been a lot of consolidation in that. Dyno Nobel bought many of the smaller contractors that would handle backyard jobs in addition to large mining operations. Dyno, for instance, doesn't do any construction. So your options for getting, say, a small to medium job done are much fewer than they were a few years ago. And having some in-house capability as well as access to a network of people for labor and obviously tools and trained expertise to come on site, I think is really important if you ever have to deal with rock.
Right. And the big thing nowadays, too, is as time goes by, blasting is less and less allowed. So you get into like so many more jobs now where they just will not allow blasting at all. And it's the next question is, if I can't blast, what can I do? What are my options? And then it gets into our realm of, what's the best method and what's the project entail? And then we can jump on that.
Yeah, another thing to consider, federally, it's not that hard to get set up with, licenses from ATF and so forth. But when you get down to the state and local level, that's where the rubber meets the road and a lot of your difficulties start. It might have been that 50 years ago, any normal contractor could go get some dynamite and hire an old miner that knew how to use it and, break some rock and get that done. But now guaranteed it's going to be a 2 to 4 week process to get that county or city permit. It may require surveying, radius anywhere from, just the 2 neighboring houses to, 500 meters, which might be hundreds of houses if you want to blast and you don't have another alternative. And, there may just be more cost-effective methods that aren't so regulated.
Exactly. And one quick thing before we wrap up, John, what would you suggest for young people that are interested in getting into our industry?
So I think there are obviously a lot of opportunities in the trades. And this one in particular, I think there's not a lot of competition. The barrier to entry is still relatively low. You don't need to finance a $300,000 piece of equipment. The amount of equipment you need is on the order of like buying an attachment for a Bobcat. Like you could even rent, if you did something specialty, you could rent something that did fencing or concrete mixing. Well, your drills and your minimum equipment to split rock are not a huge capital investment. I think you just get a little bit of time on the equipment. You work with some other folks. I think you can be doing this and being a support asset to larger contractors or doing your own jobs pretty quickly and relatively low investment. It's just a niche skill that it's kind of hard to acquire anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. What we've found here locally is that you get in with a company that's excavating or a builder or developer, and you help them out with when they find boulders, and then they don't need you for a while, but then somebody else calls you and you go to work for them, and you get kind of bounced around. And we kind of performed like a taxi would. You get a call, you respond, you go take care of the rocks, and they keep your number, and then they just keep calling you back, and then you build up your network of customers, and then they just keep calling you back, and then you're busier, and then you're hiring more guys, more crews, and it takes off from there. It's actually gone really well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's the same thing, it's one of these things that's just difficult enough and just, it's happens somewhat frequently, but not so frequently that a contractor wants to have a whole crew dedicated to it. It's kind of like if you know how to terminate fiber optic cable, you have a couple of very expensive pieces of equipment. In this case, it's not quite as pricey, and some specialty skills, and they hire you and pay your day rate happily because they don't want to have to take care of all that for the 8 times a year they need it.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's great. I think that wraps it up. And thanks for joining us, John. I appreciate your time.
Appreciate it. Y'all take care.
Yeah, talk to you later.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you would like to be a guest on a future episode and tell us your story, visit our website at www.rockbusters.com. If you have a project and would like to learn more about our products, or if you're interested in partnering with us and becoming a distributor, give us a call. Thanks again. We appreciate your support.